So I thought today we would talk in this podcast episode about what you need to know to get started with print on demand. Some of it's fun, some of it's not so much fun, but stick with me for the whole episode because by the end of it, you will have everything you need to know to get moving on it. So let's start with the things that people might think are a little more boring. Let's talk about the legalese. And what do I mean by that? Well, imagine you've created a really great design, something you really love. You put it online and everybody copies it. There has to be some sort of recourse. There has to be some way to stop that. And this is the basics of copyright. So as soon as you have created something, it is technically copyrighted to you. And I say this with an element of caution, a little bit of a disclaimer in that this is true in most developed countries around the world, not necessarily every country around the world. So if as soon as you create something, it's copyrighted to you, that means that as soon as somebody else has created something, it's copyrighted to them. You can't have it both ways. So that means that when you take a design from someone else, you are the one in the wrong. You are being naughty. So what we do is we have to modify things. We have to ideally come up with our own designs and our own slogans and things like that, but modify it in some way, make sure it's different. Now, the next stage of things is a trademark. And if somebody has gone to the effort of trademarking something, they mean business. They do not want it to be copied. Trademarks have to be done in each individual country for it to be valid in that country. So you can't do a one size fits all trademark that covers the whole world. It just doesn't work like that. If you want to trademark something in the US, or the US and the UK, or just the UK, or just whichever country, that only governs that country, which can make it very expensive because you have to pay to have things trademarked. So how much extra protection does it give? Well, the answer is a lot. And I have a copyright and trademarks video, which I will link to here. The other thing, while we're talking about being ultra careful and making sure we're not using images that we shouldn't be and slogans and things like that, the other thing I want you to check is when you use a site like Creative Fabrica, and don't get me wrong, I love Creative Fabrica. You can get so much from there, or any of the others, designbundles.net, there's lots of them out there. When you buy designs from there, have a look and make sure that their licensing agreement allows you to use it for print on demand or commercially. There's always a full explanation. You can always click to it. And usually when you download a particular image, it will point you towards the license agreement so you can have a good look at it. The best way around all of these things is to create your own work in the first place. Or if you're using elements from some other people, some other artwork, use it as part of a design and not the design in its entirety. Another place where you can find information about this is in Canva, because Canva itself has some very explicit rules. To have a look at their licensing agreement, apart from the fact that on YouTube there is a really great video that Canva have done all about their licensing rules. If you are in Canva and you click on an element, it means just that. It's an element of a design, not to be used in its entirety. Click on it, there's 3 little dots, and a little bit of information will come up, and you can click on there to read Canva's licensing agreement. They really mean it. You can do it from any image. So have a look. It's easy to follow, easy to find, and the video is really sort of friendly and fun. It's not great the 10th time you've seen it, but then what video is, right? So let's get on to the fun bit, shall we? What else can you need to know? Okay, what sort of products would you like? And what niche. And what even is a niche? Is it the same as an itch? Not an itch, a niche. So a niche or a niche, depending where you are from, is depending how you say it. This, first of all, before we even think about products, this is your theme. So do you like hockey? Do you like a particular sport like that? Do you like particular animals? Is it some kind of food or drink? Is there something that you can narrow it down? Or are you just going to be broad and general and designed for absolutely everything? Well, I tell you what, while it sounds like being broad and general and designing for absolutely everything sounds like a great idea, sometimes it's better to specialize. And this, with print on demand, is often the case. So if you're having your own print on demand store, so an e-commerce website, and we do them with Pod 123, I've got the information all coming out very soon. If you're doing that and you've got your own website, or maybe it's a Shopify store, something like that, if you sell everything to everybody, you might find you're ending up selling nothing to anybody. And that's because there's so much out there on the internet. How are they going to find you? Whereas if you've specialized, if you've niched down, it's much better to be known in that niche than it is to be unknown generally. So how on earth do you find a niche? Now, to some people, this is going to be really, really obvious. To some people, they're like, but I love roller skating. It means the world to me. How could I possibly do anything but roller skating? Brilliant. That's easy. You've got it. But what about us mere mortals who do not have some passion, some hobby, or at least we don't think we do, some passion, some hobby, something that we know that there's a market in where people will love it and really want to wear things with that on, or really want to drink out of mugs, or carry a backpack with it on, or whatever, have all this merchandise with all these logos and images and designs really on, slogans about it, all of these things, books on KDP about it. How do we find that? I can help you with that. Okay, so let's try this brainstorming session, shall we? I want you to go and find a piece of paper and a pen and find a quiet place to sit. And then on the left-hand side of that bit of paper, write the numbers 1 to 30. And then sit quietly and think of 30 different themes and ideas. They can be as broad or as narrow as you want. So, coffee, watering cans, dungarees. Why am I thinking of gardening things? Empty nesters, geese. Geese always come up, don't know why. Cricket, radishes. It's going to take a while, right? But do it. Get to 30. Sit and really think. They don't have to be related. They can be totally random. Just let your ideas flow. Throw whatever comes into your mind down onto that bit of paper. And don't think beyond each one. Don't try and consider whether it's feasible or practical. As soon as you've written one by a number, forget about it. Move on to the next one until every single one has got something written by it. Every single one of those numbers. Be open to what comes into your mind. Don't critique it. I'm not going to ask you to put them in the comments. Just do it. And when they've got something written by them, stop. When you've got all 30 done. This might take you days. Doesn't matter. If the ideas aren't coming, just come back to it later. Now let's take a good look at your list. Are there things on there that you know that you'd hate to work with? You would absolutely not enjoy doing? For example, I could come up with some great Gothic designs, dark colours, gravestones, gloom. But for me, that would depress me. It wouldn't work for me. It might work for you. Equally, give me something pink and fluffy and I don't want that either. But once again, pink, fluffy or sparkling might be you. Score through the ones that you wouldn't enjoy or that you just don't like. Pick one or a few that actually do sort of sing out and cry out to you as something that you would like to work with in the future. Okay. Can you narrow it down? Are there 5 that really work for you? In that case, why not make those top 5 your ones that you're going to try? There are no limits with print on demand, so don't feel that you are stuck with number 1 on that list. You can try things, you can start putting products out there. You're not spending any money on inventory, are you? You're not wasting money by diving into something that then might not work and that there might ultimately be no audience for. It's a brilliant testing ground. In fact, that's another way you can even use print on demand as a way to test a market before you actually go any further into it and invest anything. So now you've got 5. Pick one of them and start designing. Go to Canva, go to Kittle. I love Kittle. I love Canva too. But Kittle, you've already got these magnificent templates that just look like a t-shirt design straight away. Just go into their templates and type in t-shirt. Easy. Kittle, Kittl. Easy. There's also lots of other places. Have a look at Creative Fabrica. See if there's anything that you can use on there. Also, bear in mind that when you're going to a site like Creative Fabrica, if you download something, even when it's got full pod usage rights, don't forget that other people could have just done the same. So your listing would be exactly the same as someone else's. It's rather nice to have things a bit different, isn't it? So it's nice to add to something or amend it or change it in some way anyway, even regardless of the usage rights, licensing agreements. And what if you've tried one and it doesn't work? What if you've tried one and you've gone so niche that you are actually the only person in the whole wide world that is interested in that thing? I challenge you to come up with something that is that niche, that is that narrow. I don't think there's anything that I can think of that is that niche. But hey, been proved wrong before. So what do? What if you have gone that niche? That's fine. You've got 4 other ideas there. In fact, you've got 25 other ideas there. But you've got 4 other ideas that were singing to you. Try them. Try them all. And do you know what? What's even better is if you try one and it sings and it goes and it sells and you're creating wonderful designs for wonderful products and they're going really well in selling. That still doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and do number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 29, number 30. Because with print on demand, it's limitless. And it doesn't cost money, it only costs your time. So if you've got time to create the designs for those products, then get out there and do them. But let's move a step further. So you've got your niche. You know that you're not copying anyone else. You're creating your own unique designs, whether they're from a mix of different elements from Canva, Creative Fabrica and different places, or whether they're completely made up out of your own brain or penned by your own artistry, or slogans thought and wittily written down or typed up in some form of text. Great. But what products are they going to go on? Well, sometimes products will be obvious. You've got a design that says, my favourite Christmas jumper. Where are you going to put it? See what I mean? It's obvious. If you've got a design that is absolutely all about hats and headgear, you'd put it on hats and headgear. It's perfectly obvious. If it's about a coffee mug or my cup of coffee or something like that, you're going to want to do it in a mug or a travel mug or both. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be limited. Try to come up with designs that are more universal, so you would be able to put them on different things. And also, while we're thinking about products, what about having a store, your own e-commerce store that specializes in just that product? Ooh, feels a bit brave, doesn't it? And I tell you what, it's also quite hard to do if you suffer from any kind of shiny object syndrome. If you see all the wonderful products out there that you can put on-demand designs on, it's actually really hard to stick to one product. And I know this. But I have to say that when you're building your store, if it's an e-com store rather than being on a platform. It's going to be a lot quicker if you've only got one product to concentrate on. And it means people are coming to your store because they're looking to buy a mug, or they're looking to buy a backpack, or they're looking to buy a hoodie. So if they're looking for hoodies for cat lovers, yeah, sure, the store owner has niched it down to cat lovers, but then they open the store and they're overwhelmed with all these different products. So you might have one fantastic design, but then they're looking at it and thinking, oh, what should I get? I've only got £35 to spend. I really wanted a mug and a t-shirt, but now there's a hoodie. Oh, I'd like that. Or a notebook as well. And also a matching travel mug. Now, in our hearts as sellers, we think people are going to go, oh, they'll buy what they came for, and then they'll come back and get the other things. Is that true? Does that really happen? No. What generally happens is that people get so overwhelmed that they don't buy anything at all. And they don't come back. So why not have a store which just does mugs, just does hoodies, or just does a few? What about being somewhere in the middle? Keep everybody happy, keep yourself happy, and keep them happy. What about having just a few items? That could work, couldn't it? And then it's quite easy to sort of promote them on to other products during checkout, after checkout, say, did you know you could have a matching blah, 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 an upsell? You're not saying, did you know you can have a matching blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, 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 which is going to make them go, what? What? Don't do that to them. Make it simple. So, choose your niche. Choose your product. Now, obviously, if you're on a platform, we find it very easy and it's very quick. And I totally recommend, in that case, it's a completely different ball game. Get your design and put it on as many products as it's relevant for. Obviously, once again, if you've got a design saying this is my favorite coffee cup, don't put it on anything but coffee cups because it doesn't make sense. It's never going to sell unless you're being ironic. But otherwise, get it on everything on a platform, because what happens is people aren't overwhelmed by your store there. They just get whatever they've put into that search engine at the top of the platform, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Redbubble, whatever it is, and they've put Goose Going for a Walk t-shirt, and yours comes up along with all the others. And if you've got your keywords right, hopefully yours comes up near the top, or if yours is selling well, it should come up near the top too. Brilliant. They see it, they buy it, because they've specifically chosen that. It's kind of a different way of doing it. So we've got the platforms one way, we've got your own website the other way. Very different ways for people to find your product. At the end of the day, please understand that what's most important is to get started and get something on there. Because even if you decide to break all of these rules, don't break copyright and trademark rules though, hey? And licensing agreement rules. But get something on there, and no matter what niche it's in, no matter what product it is, if it's available to buy, you've got a whole lot more chance than if you haven't made it available to buy, than if you haven't created something and got off your backside and done it. So look at my YouTube videos. I'm not asking you to spend money. I'm asking you to just get started. Print on demand is great fun. I'm an advocate for it. And what have you got to lose apart from a bit of time? Really? If you want to get started and you don't know where to begin, watch this video next. And of course, if you do want to spend money, I do have courses. I deliberately keep them really low priced because I want more and more people to find out about print on demand. I know, I've been told not to do that. In fact, before I came onto YouTube, they were a whole lot more money and they're exactly the same courses, but it just seems to make more sense so that more people can get into it. And besides, I'm telling you about a lot of stuff for free here on YouTube. So come and watch.